Uprisings all over the country, maybe there will be. People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator. Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protesters.
Hey, welcome everybody to another live episode. This almost didn't happen today. I've got, I think, that 30-day cough thing coming on. So if I start coughing during this, please forgive me. I've got some coffee and stuff, and I've been taking elderberry, zinc, garlic, turmeric. Oh, what else? The veggies you see on TV, not that brand, but something very similar. Vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B. I've been trying everything to kick this out of the system. So if you got any remedies for this whole cough thing that's going around, please let me know. Leave it in the chat. Be more than happy to try any different stuff. I think the last thing I have to try is probably, if I say it on here, I'll probably get in trouble, but it's made for horses. Let's just say that, or that's what everybody says. So that being said, today's episode is going to be probably a short one just because I'm feeling like garbage. But I decided to do one about like 10 essential items or thoughts. I probably should have changed the title a little bit, but it's kind of like 10 things you should think about when doing any type of like home emergency kit, being prepared for any type of like natural disaster, losing your job, getting sick like me, that sort of thing. And I figured that would be kind of like a good like short episode today. I just wanted to make sure I got out here and saw everybody, and you get to say hi and stuff like that. I'm starting to really enjoy doing these daily lives, Monday through Friday. We'll see how long I can keep this up for, but right now it's been pretty good, and that's the reason why I'm late today, is because I just had to get my butt off the couch and stop watching what is that channel on Roku? The Truth Tide. It used to be called Burrow. I just happened to put on something while eating a little lunch, and then lunch turned into like an hour of just sitting and drinking hot tea. So anyways, again, as always, this doesn't constitute legal or tax advice. It's just one person's viewpoint on things. But today it really doesn't matter because we're not talking anything legalese, so to speak. But I really just kind of wanted to get an overall view of what everybody can start doing now if you wanted to start preparing for the good, the bad, the ugly, or nothing at all. I always, from my military background, have been somewhat of a prepared person. So I thought, and then certain things have happened throughout my life, and I'm like, dang, I'm not as prepared as I thought I was, and a simple thing like when everything kicked off a few years ago and you couldn't get toilet paper, like I was like, really? Like, why didn't I ever think of stocking up on toilet paper? Like, that was crazy to me, right? Got plenty of water, but I got nothing to wipe my butt with unless I wanted to make some, wipes out of like old t-shirts or something and then wash those. I'm sorry if that sounds nasty, but that's just one of the things. So anyways, here's kind of like 10 things that I kind of think of now and I think are kind of important if you are going to have that mindset where, okay, I want to be prepared for stuff. I want to have, redundancy or, redundancy. I was going to say defense and depth, but that doesn't make a lot of sense for that analogy, but redundancy. So, and this all is going to really, a lot of these steps are going to determine where you are geographically and located. So like maybe you're in Florida and you have to deal with hurricanes and tornadoes, where normally that's not something I have to deal with here in Connecticut, but I do have to deal with temperatures below, freezing in the wintertime. And, if the power goes out in the house, how am I going to keep the pipes from freezing, or how many days can I go before the pipes start to freeze, or keep everybody warm, that sort of thing, alternate heat sources and that stuff. So the first one is just going to be assess your risk and needs, identify any natural or man-made disasters. Like if you live near a chemical plant, one of my first houses was in the town of Manchester, and this was in the late 90s, I believe, like 99, 98, somewhere around there, maybe 2000. I don't, maybe 2000. So it was a while ago. Anyways, there was a pool plant and there was a big chlorine bomb thing going off. Like it just exploded and everything went into the atmosphere, and they were evacuating people, and you got to get out of your house. You can't get there. I was like, well, I've got animals in the house. Hopefully the windows are still closed. It was, I couldn't remember because it was during like the early part of spring into summer. And we had to leave the house. We couldn't stay there. We had to go until they gave us the all clear to come back. But did I have anything at that point in time? Like in my vehicle, did I have a binder with, places to meet my mom? Didn't have a family at that point. It was just me and I think a girlfriend at the time. Yeah. And, so where, I didn't have any, stuff with me if I had to go check into a hotel or something like that. I can't go back and get clothing. So you want to assess your risks and needs. You want to identify any potential natural and man-made disasters. Um, Consider specific needs for your household. So, like if you are going to put together a binder and keep that in your vehicle with important information like, a credit card number, should you not have it on you, doctor's information, social security. I hate to say to put social security down, but not everybody knows their social security number. So, kind of all that stuff where it's kept secure. You also want to, if you're going to have that binder and you're going to have a small bag with you, let's say maybe a 48 hour, 72-hour bag of, just stuff you're going to need. Maybe if you are on some type of blood thinner medication or some type of anti-seizure medication, you want to talk to your doctor to have a little extra of that to get you through that time period. Should you not be able to get back to your house to where all of your stuff is. And I think that's pretty important. And also, like, let's say I got my dog Jada with me. She's in the back of the truck. We're driving around. Now, let's say it's that same scenario. The pool plant goes up. There it is. There's that cough. And excuse me. And chlorine's in the air. Can't get to the house. Now, I don't have. What if I don't have any dog food in the back of the truck for or water for her? Something like that. So you want to keep those things in mind. Now, you also want to have and create an emergency plan. So, like now, I have a driver in the family. My oldest is now driving. So, if there is a natural disaster and we're separated, where are we going to go and meet? Um, if there is simple things as a fire in the house, do you run fire drills in the middle of the night? I bet most of us don't. And I had a fire going the other night and the smoke detector went off. That's probably the first time we've heard it since we've been in here, because the damn damper fell shut and all the smoke came in the house. But anyways, you want to make sure that you have a comprehensive family and household emergency plan that outlines what to do in different scenarios, right? You just have to have courses of action that they call them in the military. And you want to make sure you have a few, not that you can predict and plan for everything, but you want to have some type of stuff that overlaps a little bit. Next thing, you want to establish communication, and you might want to have spots where you meet up. So maybe that as you're going up the highway to one exit and you get off, and there's a part on the side of the road where you can pull over and you can wait, and maybe you just have a piece of ribbon tied around the tree or something inconspicuous that's going to let them know that, hey, you haven't been there yet. And if they come by and they see that it's missing, then maybe they know that's not a safe place to go and they have to keep moving on to rally point number 2, 3, and 4, that sort of thing. Also, you can leave some caches at those spots. We talked about this with our association here in Connecticut a while back when we were doing a prepping course, and it was talking about, plastic tubes that you can, get at Home Depot. Maybe there's just some extra stuff in there. Where it's buried. You have, nobody else does. So if you need to get it en route to somewhere, it's a little extreme, but hey, it doesn't hurt to kind of think of those things ahead of time just in case it happens. And this is where I talk, where I think having a binder is important, is making sure that everybody knows and is familiar with the plans, where to go, how to get there, alternate routes, that sort of thing. You want to have some type of emergency kit. Do not go to, hold on a second. Sorry about this. Do not go to CVS and buy a first aid kit off the shelf. It's nothing but crappy band-aids and really bad tape and maybe some gauze. Go and get things that you think you are going to need, like really good fabric band-aids, maybe some tweezers, maybe different sizes of gauze, an ace bandage, maybe a tourniquet, so some different things that you can put in there. Also, while you're doing that, you want to, maybe have any type of like antiseptic stuff in there, to be able to better handle any medical stuff that might happen. And do I have it handy? Hold on. Here we go. So the survival medical handbook. This is a great book. I got this also from. I have a copy. I got one for my wife Alyssa. She's a nurse. I think there's some great information there. Now, granted, you don't need that, but it is a good read, and it really kind of makes you think about things. And then the next thing would be, number 4 would be just to stay informed. Have that hand crank radio that we talked about before. You want to make sure that if, cell phones aren't working, and you want to have some type of radio signal, and if you're not in your vehicle, or if you have a satellite radio in your vehicle and it's not working, you want to have some other ways of listening to what's going on. So, like, maybe you're in Florida and there's a hurricane coming through, or a tornado, or you're up here in New England and you're getting hit with a monster nor'easter and you're getting dumped on snow and power lines and ice and everything. You kind of want to have an idea of what's going on in the world around you, especially if your internet's down. Everybody streams stuff now. I don't think anybody really, maybe there's a few people that have HD rabbit ears or bunny ears, whatever they used to, whatever they call them these days. And that way there you can get some information on what's going on. So you want to stay informed. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to practice maintenance. I probably should have made this one at the end, but go through your stuff every once in a while. Like every hour, like I'll say I do it every 3 months. It's more like probably every 6 months. I go through and I look at what's in my truck, make sure the candy bars that are in there, the protein bars are not completely melted and shot, and the wipes are still good, and the bottled water didn't freeze and burst everywhere, stuff like that. Whatever's in your kit, you want to make sure that you go through that. And then also with that, you want to do some education. So maybe take a first aid course, maybe take a CPR course, or at least somebody in your family can do that. They're offered all over the place, and that way there you can have basic knowledge of first aid. In the military, a lot of people have to go through the combat lifesaver course, and that's pretty much just to keep somebody alive. You're not a doctor by any means, or an EMT or anything like that. It's kind of like, hey, here's how you pack a wound, here's how you put on a tourniquet, here's how you get somebody to cover and concealment, and wait for the medic to show up and hopefully keep them alive long enough. So having that stuff in there, and listen, knowing CPR and how to handle something if somebody's choking. I don't even think they call it the Heimlich anymore because they changed some things from my last training. But anyways, you want to know how to do those things because it might help you just at home in general. There was a time where I was in the car with Jake and we were driving along, and he was really sick and he started spitting up and coughing and he started choking on his own phlegm, vomit, whatever was in there. And we had to pull over, I had to jump out, pull him out of the car, and give him some back slaps to get everything out of his mouth so he could start breathing again. And it's just you're only going to rely on the training that you have. So, and you're going to your lowest level of training, right? So, if you don't practice it enough, you're going to lose it. If you don't go through it enough, you're going to lose it. So it's all muscle memorization, that sort of thing. So make sure you have that in there. Then, if we start talking about actual supplies, water purification, right? You can live a few days without food. You can't live very long without water. So you want to have at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. Some might argue that, some might say more, some might say less. And it's really simple to store water. You have a faucet in your kitchen. You go out there, you turn it on, you let it run. You take a soda bottle that's been cleaned. You take a juice bottle, ocean spray bottle, whatever it is, and you fill it up with water, put the cap on it, put a date on it if you want, stick it in a cool, dry place and leave it. Maybe use it every once in a while and refill it up because it will get like a stale taste. But there's no reason for people not to have water. And, so we just had a storm come through here, and it was funny because my mother's up from Florida, and she had a soda bottle that I thought was Sprite. She goes, "Oh no, I filled it up with water." I was like, "Mom, I've got plenty of water in the garage." She didn't realize it, but just those things, because back in the day it was fill pots and pans with water, fill your bathtub, that sort of thing. You may not have time to do that. So storing water is something very easily that everybody can do. Next thing you want to look at is non-perishable foods. Uh, you know, uh, Something that's easy to prepare. Now you can go out and buy this stuff that 25-year shelf life in a bucket for 3 days or whatever it is, or you can just go to Costco and buy stuff that you eat already, like macaroni and cheese, tuna fish, pasta, sauce, all those different things, kind of comfort foods that you're going to want to eat anyways. Don't go out and buy a 50-pound bag of lentils if you've never cooked lentils before, because you got to soak them and all that stuff. Like, those are some of the things we saw back when the whole thing started a few years back. And I don't want to say what it was because then I'll just get booted off somewhere or put in jail. So you want to make sure you have that food, and maybe some dehydrated fruit, dehydrated meals. Maybe you taught yourself how to can, so you got canned meals downstairs and you have a closet full of canned goods. Those are all things you can use. You can heat up very easily. Even if you don't have the microwave, you can do it over a stove or a wood stove, throw it in a pot and you're good to go. Next would be flashlights and batteries. And, you want to have multiple batteries for all different things. So whether you have pop-up lanterns that take AAA or AA or 9 volt or anything like that, you want to have all of those situated somewhere where you know where they are. So you could have it. I use Cabela's sells these bags. They're like these range bags, I guess the best way to say it. They're pretty inexpensive. My son uses one for all types of Legos and stuff like that. And then I have one that's like medical supplies. I have one that was like the go dark bag. So when things go dark, we grab that bag. It's got flashlights in it. It's got glow sticks. It's got everything we need to be able to figure out, what's going on. And you might want to strategically put some around your house or keep one in your car, because if you wake up in the middle of the night and there's an ice storm here, like we get frequently in Connecticut, and the power is out, I don't want to be fumbling around the house in the middle of the night trying to find, either my cell phone for a light. I want to just open up my top drawer of my nightstand and have there be a flashlight in there, preferably rechargeable ones. Then if you have some type of like portable generator. I have one of those from Harbor Freight. I think it's like 450 watts. It wasn't much. Came with a 100-watt solar panel, and I can run small appliances off and charge phones and flashlights and stuff like that. So that might be something that you have and that you know where it is relatively easy. And then that's just that's just a good thing to have. So have that stuff set up. Then you want to also think of some tools. So I like multi-tools, or a basic set of tools. So a multi-tool, like a Leatherman or something like that, you can get fairly inexpensive. And it has many uses, whether it's using it as a pair of pliers, cutting a wire, using it as a screwdriver, using it as a little saw, whatever. It's all in there. And it's important to have this stuff because you might have to do minor repairs, or maybe, you had a tree branch come through a window and now you've got a piece of wood in the garage, a piece of plywood, and you need to secure it. Yeah, it might suck doing it by hand, but at least you're getting it up there and you're securing that window so more debris and stuff's not coming through. And it's just a good thing to have. Like maybe you're in your vehicle and your car dies and you got to take off your battery terminals because you need to clean them up a little bit because there's some corrosion on there. It's just one of those things that you can have and that you can use. And one thing, I guess the last thing I should add into any in the bag, if you're making a bag like a bag for your vehicle, or a bug out bag, get home bag, whatever you want to call it. You also don't forget personal hygiene items in there too. So like I was saying with the whole chlorine pool incident back in the late 90s, if I had to go to a hospital, if I had to go to a hotel, I may not have a toothbrush with me, soap, deodorant. I was wearing contacts at the time, so all that stuff. So you want to take all that stuff into consideration. Make sure you have some amount of cash on hand in small denominations, because if you can't get to your ATM and the ATM is not working, you want to have some cash on hand. I would say try to keep it like $500 in small bills. Maybe split up amongst a couple of the adults in the family or in different locations, and then copies of important documents. So if you have passports, any IDs, insurance cards, driver's license, all that stuff can be put together and put into a folder. And each vehicle has a folder, is another way of doing it. That way there, if something happens, there's the information needed there for that person. So, and like I said earlier, just make sure you check on this stuff. It's not just you put it together one time and leave it. It is a lifestyle, I guess is the best way to put it, where you have to provide maintenance to it, make sure things are good, make sure things haven't expired, make sure the batteries still work, that sort of thing. So I'm going to start coughing again here. Yeah, this was a short episode today. Thank you for those who jumped on and viewed. If you let me know where you're from, that's great too. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better tomorrow. We'll be back again talking about some other things with associations and prepping and preparedness and all that stuff, and working out some interviews for coming up this next year. So we'll have some past guests back on, which will be great. But those are kind of like, I think those are the 10 tips. I don't even know why I said top 10, just 10 good tips that you should, realize that that might help put things together for you if you're looking to start getting prepared a little bit, or if you haven't done it before, or, just, you don't have to go out and buy all that stuff you see, just simple. KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. That's the way to do it. So thanks for watching. I will see you all on the next episode. See ya.
All over the country, and maybe there will be. People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator. Enemies of the state.
Show me where